So my name is Bob Morgan. By no means am I world famous. Maybe in some circles, in the automotive industry, a few people know me. But if you do know me, you know I talk about leadership a lot. I've written a couple of books. I just think it's a shame that most businesses throw their managers right to the wolves, when it's a proven fact that the quality of your manager, team leaders, is the single most significant factor in your organization's long-term success. Because most people don't quit their job, they quit their managers. They leave because of their boss. You know, the chances are throughout your career, for every 10 bosses or managers you've had, you've maybe only got one or two that you would really want to work for if you were lucky. Some can't even count on one. I'm really lucky because I've got 2 or 3. But at least to the fact that 85% of our employees are either not engaged or they're actively disengaged at work. That's a disappointing fact. Disappointing, but the good news is a great manager or leader can raise engagement by as much as 40%. What does that equate to? The obvious things: more sales, more profit, less turnover. We could go on and on. Less turnover is a huge factor. Can we all agree that the above is true? Yeah, we can shake our heads and say it. The problem is our actions don't speak very clearly that we really believe that. Let's take a look at it. Training for our sales departments. Managers are required to train. And most of them do. And what they do is train the way they were trained 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 10 years ago in ways that don't work. They do for some, for the top 20%, but what about that other 80% who need help one-on-one? Different kind of training, and we train with a brush that covers everybody. The cost for that is exponentially high. We need to focus one-to-one. Then our phone skills are down, we're only closing 7%, so we bring in an expert on the phones, and they are really good. So we bring in outside training. We do a 3-day boot camp. It's $5,000 or $6,000 a day. That costs us $15,000. We justify it because, well, if it gets us 10 more deals, I've picked up 30 grand, so I really haven't spent any money on it. And we send our salespeople to offsite training, experts for half a day, tell us how to do things. A lot of the phrases they tell you to use, you can't use. They're just not comfortable with it. The bottom 80% don't do that. That's $495 a person. Times that by 20, you're talking $9,000. And the newest way, video training. That's required by everybody. $200 a month. Times that by 30 people in your staff. That's $72,000 a year. So your managers don't have to do their job. So you just turn it over. Hey, have you got your video done? Employee turnover is at 75% because of a lot of these things. That costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And if you're under that, good for you. I could go on for more of the training we require from our salespeople. But let's take a minute and turn our attention to the managers. And I'm going to repeat this. The quality of your managers and team leaders is the biggest factor in your business's long-term success. The single biggest factor in your business's long-term success. So what do we do with manager training? The corporation I worked for did it this way. Once a month we met with all the managers, 90 minutes, had to drive 90 minutes to get there. And they spent a lot of the time pointing out statistically how bad a lot of them were doing. Then they would do some sort of team building thing and train on one short subject that was mostly administrative so that we could tell the salespeople what a bad job they were doing because they weren't doing it and they couldn't understand why. So then what? Then we trained to the video training. Manager video training we have to get on. We have to do the score and we have to talk to our boss, and we have to have the one-on-one situation going with them, and that's $1,000 a month with no follow-up, or $2,000 a month with follow-up. That's $24,000 per year per manager. And I have yet to talk to a manager who tells me that they don't find that training useless. The leader spends time training them on administrative things. Doesn't train them on how to be a boss, how to be a leader. And that would be the extent of training for almost all management and almost all businesses. And that's amazing to me. Because the employee who has the most significant impact on our business, we spend the least amount of money helping, training, and giving them the foundation so they can succeed. What we end up doing is training them on things they deem to be so useless they don't pay attention. And your salespeople are only good, your staff are only as good as their boss. Now, if we find a way to give our managers a solid foundation, train them in the art of managing employees, it frees up time so they can do the training. And when a manager does the training, when a manager holds the classes, when a manager does the follow-up, when a team leader does a follow-up, habits begin to change. And we no longer need the intensive boot camp training that fades when that boot camp trainer leads. Spend money and time on your management and team leaders. Give them a solid foundation. Save yourself vast amounts of money over the long term. And soon, your team is a well-oiled machine. Just needs a tune-up occasionally. Stop this madness. Invest in your managers. It's amazing the success that true leaders will bring. The quality of your managers and team leaders is the single most significant factor in your organization's long-term success. Find a way, give them the foundation. True leaders will bring success.